everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Vanessa and I make lots of bookish and writing related content. So if that's something you're into, stick around and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 3 favorite books that I've read so far this year. So far this year, I've read 24 books, but we'd be here forever if I reviewed them all. So I'm just going to go through my top 3. So each month, at the end of the month, I fill out my monthly reading stats using my monthly wrap-up sheets that I created in my book planner. I'll have a picture up here for you guys to see. But there's a spot in my monthly wrap-up sheet that says favorite book of the month or best book of the month. So those are the favorites that I'm going to be talking about. This is a new format that I'm trying. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys enjoy it and if you want me to do more quarterly favorites like this. And if you want to get these monthly wrap-up sheets, it's part of my book planner that I created. And if you sign up for my newsletter, the link is in the description below, you will get access to my book planner and book review sheet. I also recently did a full book planner walkthrough, which I will leave that video link down below if you guys want to check that out as well. Okay, so let's start with January's favorite. January was a pretty good reading month for me, but my favorite book for that month was The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. I love Karen's books. You guys, if you've been on my channel before, you know that I absolutely love her book, and this was no exception. So this story is about Millie, Aubrey, and Jonah, who are all cousins, but they barely know each other. And we get to see all 3 points of view, so this is a multiple point of view story. And so they barely know each other, and they don't know their grandmother at all. And they get this invitation one summer to come work at their grandma's resort. Their parents, of course, push them to accept the invitation, hoping that it will get them back into their mom's good graces. So we know from the start that something happened with this family years ago that kind of led them apart and is the reason why the cousins have never met their grandma and have never really known each other. They end up accepting the invitation to work at their grandma's resort, and while they're there, they start to piece together what really happened all those years ago, and what broke their family apart. This is a YA mystery book, and what I love about Karen's books is her twists that she throws at the end. The twists she does are so good, and she has a way of making you think like you figured out the mystery, you know what's going on, but then she throws you a curveball and you're like, what the heck just happened? But she does it still in a plausible way where you still believe the story. So her plots and her twists are my absolute favorites. She has basically become an autobi author for me. I will read whatever she writes because I just love her stories. And I will say the one thing about this one, The Cousins, is I think her characters have actually gotten better with this as well. Because I've said before in previous reviews of her books that while I like the plot and the twist and the story, I never really connect with the characters, and they could be anyone in the book and I would still enjoy the book because of the plot and the twist, but the characters I just never really am invested in. But this one was completely different. I love the characters in The Cousins. I really got invested in their story and what they were going through. I don't really think I can pinpoint or tell you what's the difference with this one, why I connect with the characters in this one so much. I don't know what it is, but I love them and I was invested in them. So yeah, this just did an amazing job. I totally loved it, and it became an amazing read in January. Then for February, my favorite book of the month was Wings of Ebony by JL. This was our February book club pick for the Diversity is Lit book club that I'm in, and I'm so glad this was the book we picked, because this was my favorite in February. And if you guys have read Wings of Ebony, and you kind of want to hear other people's thoughts or our discussion about it, I'll leave the link to our video discussion from our book club down in the description below. So for this story, it's kind of hard for me to explain it, so I'm just going to read the summary on the inside this jacket. And this says, Rue's family is her whole life. Her sister, Tasha, moms, and the play aunties and cousins who live in East Row, the Houston neighborhood she calls home, are her world. But it is upended when the unthinkable happens. Moms is murdered and Rue is snatched away by a father who abandoned her at birth. A father who now insists she follow him to his home, Gizan, a secret country of gods who wielded powerful magic. In Gizan, Rue's existence is a crime. There's never been a half-god, half-human there, where leaders protect their magical powers at all costs and thrive on human suffering. Miserable and desperate to see her sister on the anniversary of their mother's death, Rue breaks Gazan's most sacred law. She returns to Houston only to discover black kids are being forced into crime and violence, and Tasha is in danger of falling away to the very forces that claim their mother's life. Worse still, evidence mounts that the evil plaguing East Row is the same one that lurks in Gazan, an evil that will stop at nothing until it has stolen everything from her. Rue must embrace her true identity and wield the full magnitude of her ancestors' powers to save her hood before the gods burn it to the ground. But how can she pull it off when the enemy is everywhere? So that's the summary. This book is fast-paced and action-packed, and I loved every minute of it. The characters in here are amazing. I love Bree. She was one of my favorite characters. She's smart and quirky, and I love her friendship with the Rue. So I definitely love Bree's character. We really don't see much female friendships in YA, and I don't know why, because we need more of them. And I really loved Rue and Bree's friendship. Also, the dynamic between Rue and her father's, their relationship was interesting to see, because I actually related to a lot of it, especially in the beginning when she's like pushing him away and doesn't really want anything to do with him. I was like, this is hitting in a way that's pretty relatable. So that was interesting to see their dynamic, and especially how it shifts and changed over the course of the book, and how it was at the end of the book. Another thing I loved was the world that was created here and what we find out about Gazan later on. There's so many twists in this book, some of which I did see coming. I was like, yeah, I saw that. And some of which I was like, what just happened? Like, yeah, I did not call that. So there are so many twists and turns, especially when you get to towards the end of the book. I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on, so much happening, and I'm loving every minute of it. The other really cool thing about this book is it does such a good job at touching on some serious topics such as privilege and what that looks like, and how to kind of navigate that while still being an ally for others. And so this book just did such an amazing job. Overall, I think this book was just fantastic, and I cannot wait for the next one. Last but certainly not least, my favorite book that I read in March was Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. I freaking love this book so much, you guys. I don't even know how to express how much I love this book. So this is probably going to end up being up there as one of my all-time favorite series of all time, even though we've only got the first book so far. But that's how much I love it, because this book was so awesome. So this is a middle grade book about a girl named Amari, obviously. And at the start of the story, we find out that her brother had this super secretive job, and he went missing on his job. No one's heard from him. No one knows what happened. And so at the start, Amari soon gets an invitation to this program that her brother had gone to. This was the program that led him to have the job that he was in when he went missing. To the outside world, the program that she joins seems like it's just some leadership program for kids. That's what her mom knows about the program, and so it's sold as like this leadership program that helps kids get into good colleges and have good jobs and stuff. However, when Amari joins the program, she finds out that it's actually part of a secret organization that protects the supernatural world from being discovered. So when Amari gets to the program, she finds out that her brother was working on this mission when he and his partner went missing. And so she is trying to figure out what happened to him and how she can get him back. So that's the premise of the book. This one was another one that was fast-paced, never had a dull moment. I was hooked into this book from page one, from the very first paragraph. I was hooked. It made me want to buy it immediately. Did not want to put this down. And so I'm actually going to read you the first paragraph of this book, because honestly, that's what sucked me in so much. Amari has such a strong voice in this story. I love her voice. And I'll just read you the paragraph because it hooked me, and I'm hoping that it'll hook you guys too. I'm sitting in the principal's office. Again, in the hallway on the other side of the glass door, Principal Merritt is getting an earful from Emily Grant's mom. With all those wild hand gestures, you'd think I did a lot more than give her stuck-up Little Miss Prince's daughter a tiny shove. Emily got in my face, not the other way around. Wasn't my fault she lost her balance and fell on her butt in front of everybody. So that was the first paragraph, but right there, right from the start, you can tell that Amari is the type of character who she is sassy and she won't put up with the bully, which I love. Like, she gets picked on for being different at her school, and then even when she goes into the program and finds out about the supernatural world and stuff, she is still getting picked on for being different. But what I love about her is she's so strong, and she doesn't let the bullies get to her. And I just loved her character. I also loved her best friend, Elise. She is what they called a were-dragon, which is something I've never heard of, but it was cool. And there's so many great characters in here. There are characters that I loved characters that I hated, um, and some characters that I was very suspicious of. I was like, I want to trust you, but I don't know if I can trust you. So, this book just did a great job with its characters. They were very well written. This is another story where I love the world that's been created here, and I so want to see more of this world. I want more adventures with Amari. I want to see what's going to happen next for her. And I guess that's it. I really don't know what else I can say without getting into spoilers to get you guys to pick up this book. But if you love middle grade fantasy books, you definitely have to pick this one up. It's so super amazing. I am so in love with this book. So I don't know what else to say to convince you is that pick it up, read it, do it. You'll love it. You won't regret it. And if you do, you're weird. I'm just kidding, kind of. But yeah, this was amazing. So definitely my favorite for March. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you guys have read any of these books, let me know in the comments below what you thought about them. And let me know if you liked this format of reviewing my top or best books for each month. I was thinking of doing reviews like this quarterly and sharing my favorite books of each month for each quarter. So let me know if that's something that you guys want to see, if you would be interested in continuing with this format. Also, again, if you want to get my monthly wrap-up sheets, that's part of my book planner. You can sign up for my newsletter in the description below, and you'll get my book planner and review sheets. And you'll also get access to my members only section of my website, where I have tons of resources for writers and short stories and sneak peeks into my current projects for readers. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I post new videos every other Thursday, so I will see you guys soon. Bye!